What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. So on Tuesday, we did a video breaking down the Miami Heat and some of the numbers behind their recent hot streak. And I wanted to do another video that focused on numbers and statistics. And today, I found a few players who were having either statistical anomalies or had a recent hot streak and kind of wanted to just break down how their play has affected them and their team. Before we get started, though, if you could like, subscribe, share, and comment, would mean a lot. We're a few subscribers away from 200, so really trying to get that push to get there. Also, follow us on our social media pages. Links will be in the description below. So the first guy I wanted to talk about was on the screen we have right here, Anthony Edwards. He is averaging 16.2 points per game, which isn't bad, but he's shooting 38.5%. Now, he is a rookie, and this is something we've seen from rookies in the past, right? Shooting around 40% or even below is never a great for an NBA player, but it's something, again, for rookies as they are getting used to the physicality, the schedule, and the pace of the NBA game. It's something that they can struggle with. But the good thing for Anthony Edwards and Timberwolves fans is, as we scroll here, in the last 4 games, he's up to scoring to 27.8 points per game and is shooting 47% from the field. Now, he is taking 21.5 field goal attempts per game. And with D'Angelo Russell coming back, that might decrease. And, you can still make the argument that the quality of his shots might increase with a guy like D'Lo on the floor. Those three haven't really played a lot together. This Wolves teams has been, they've been riddled with injuries for most of the year, and they haven't really been fully healthy. But, having a guy like Ricky Rubio definitely helps. And Edwards himself has talked about how Rubio has helped him kind of get his footing and, adjust to the NBA game. But I know it's a 4 game sample, not a big sample, but definitely playing the best stretch of basketball for a short career so far. And the 42.4% from three is also good to see. He's been very, very active and aggressive looking for the 3-point shot. Look at the attempts in his last 4 games: 5, 7, 14, and 7, especially that 14 one against Portland. One of the rare wins that the Wolves have had this season, and he played really well. 34 points in that one. And the good thing is it's not like he has a lot of turnovers, which is another thing that rookies can struggle with. Now, his overall turnover assist to turnover ratio at 2 to 2.5 isn't good. So it's not like he's playing insane, insanely great basketball. And he can definitely improve on the defensive end as well, something that people have pointed out even before he played his first game in the NBA. But again, if you're the Wolves or the Wolves fan, it's been a long season and it can really, be tough, trying to find positives in a season like this. But if you got to feel good, you really do. And I think, I myself included, people have been kind of hard on Anthony Edwards for the things we mentioned before. Again, the turnovers and the defense and the inefficient shooting. But maybe he's turned a corner, and we've seen this before with rookies where they struggle and then they finish the year really well. I think Trae Young was the most recent one, or at least one of the most notable ones. His shooting percentages to begin the season, field goal and 3-point shooting, were awful. It really turned around the second half of the season, and he's been, he's never looked back since. He's been a very productive and good player since. So maybe Anthony Edwards just needed to, take some time and maybe he's really ready to be what a lot of people expected. Now, the next guy we have is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and for him, it's been the free throw shooting. He's shooting nearly 75% from the free throw line as of late, and that's been, very big for him because for his career, he's shooting 71 from the line, but this year he's shooting 67. And as a guy that gets to the line, as you see here, 10 times gets to the free throw line, 10 times a game over his last 20 games or so, and he's really turned it up and stepped up from the free throw line, and it's been helping them a lot. The Bucks are a team that I was very critical of earlier on in the season because I thought they were playing some lackluster basketball. I thought their defense had fallen off. I thought that their offense had gotten predictable, and while Giannis was still elite and their offense wasn't even bad overall, I thought they kind of lacked that fire, and I don't know, something was missing. And Brook Lopez was someone I was also very critical of because I thought his rim protection had just kind of fallen off a cliff. I think he looked really slow and old at the beginning of the season, but his scoring and defense, to his credit, has looked better as of late. They just got PJ Tucker, maybe something we'll talk about in another video, but I think that was a good pickup. Not one I ever really saw coming, but that will improve their defense even more. And for me, their defense, I've talked about this before, but their defense, especially depth wise, wasn't great. You obviously have good defenders in Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and now that Brook has gotten kind of his legs underneath him and looks a little bit better recently. I think their defense was always fine at the top, but you have guys or had guys, like Torrey Craig, who weren't getting minutes, and then DJ Augustine and Bryn Forbes. Neither of them were great defenders. And then now you get to finally add a piece like PJ Tucker, who is a known commodity, a veteran. He's going to lay it all on the line, play 110%, plays hard out, can shoot the corner three and defend, 1 to 4 and 1 to 5 if the other team is playing, with a small lineup. But yeah, just in at least in terms of just Giannis, I mean, he's been playing really well. And I mean, you see the numbers, right? For the whole season, you look up, um, he's at almost 29 points, 8 assists, 12 rebounds, and he's someone that we've talked a lot about Joel Embiid and Jokic and even LeBron, James Harden, and Giannis's name has kind of fallen off of that top tier of players this season. It's not like saying like no everybody still knows he's really good, but he's kind of fallen out of that conversation of the best players, or at least in terms of hype and attention that he gets, which is weird because again, everybody knows he's one of the best players in the world, but he's quietly still doing his thing. And if you look away from the whole season and just look at even the last 20 games or so, scoring numbers are at 31, 12 and a half rebounds, 6.5 assists, and even the 3-point percentage, right? And he's not taking a lot, only 3.4, which is, I think, a good amount because I think 0 attempts would mean that he's kind of reverted and isn't confident in taking them. And I do think he still needs to take 1, 2, or 3 a game just to keep the defense honest. And he's making 31%, right? He's averaging 1 3-point make a game. And he has games here and there where he's making 2 a game. So I think he's at a pretty good spot. And this is a team where, right, the regular season only means so much. This is a time where they're just still really trying to become the best version of themselves with Drew Holiday and the new kind of bench they have. And ultimately, it's going to be just how they do in the playoffs. But the free throw percentages being up, definitely huge for Giannis and Bucks fans. And considering he's someone that's going to have the ball a lot in his hands, you obviously don't want to see your best player shooting in the 60s. And we've all seen Giannis struggle at times with free throws, especially, the ones that come to mind are even late game situations. But if he can continue to hover around 75 to 80% and then be above 30% from the 3-point line, that's going to be very big for the Bucks going forward. So the next guy I wanted to take a look at is Michael Porter Jr. Now he's someone that we've all kind of been waiting for to take that next step. We've seen glimpses of it in the past. He started off the season really well. You see here 24, 10, 14, 30. He scoring at will and was playing really well. And then he missed a lot of time with the COVID protocols. And then he struggled for a bit. He was shooting all right, but there were some games where he didn't get the most, playing time. Coach Malone had been vocal about wanting Michael Porter to take the next step as a complete basketball player, not just a scorer, and that was passing, rebounding, defending. But as of late, especially now the 10 games or so, Michael Porter Jr. has gotten consistent playing time, and he's looked a lot better. Just looked really good. Over those 10 games, he's averaging 19.4 points per game and 10.1 rebounds per game, right? So really helping out on the defensive end and becoming a better rebounder. Guys like Jokic, guys like Murray, and Coach Malone have all been vocal about how Michael Porter Jr. is really starting to develop into that complete basketball player they not only wanted, but they really need if the Nuggets want to be a contender. And on top of that, you still have him shooting 60% from the field, 50% from three, 70% from the free throw line. Granted, he doesn't get there a lot. But yeah, I mean, he's been really good for that team, almost averaging a block a game too. Almost no turnovers, been really good for that team. And for Denver to really again be a contender and be serious and be taken seriously with the teams like the Lakers and the Clippers, and I'm not even going to put the Jazz and the Suns up there because we don't know what they're going to be like in the playoffs. But we know. I mean, I don't even know what the Clippers are going to be like in the playoffs, right? We with the way they've been playing, and that's a topic for another video. But if they want to be considered with those elite teams, then MPJ really does have to take that next step and continue to play at this level because they lost Jeremy Grant, who is doing his thing over in Detroit, and it's not like they have the crazy, like they have decent depth, but they've struggled at times and they've been inefficient and inconsistent, which is why I think Denver struggled overall because they've yet to find obviously Jokic is doing his thing and Jamal Murray's had an improved season as well, but outside of that, when MPJ isn't playing well, they don't have that third guy, and you know it, if MPJ can continue to do this and really establish him as that guy, Denver could be really dangerous again, so watch out. Now, the next guy is Terry Rozier, and shout out to Terry Rozier because this one isn't even about splits. We're not talking about the last 10 games or 20 games. We're talking about the whole season. Terry Rozier's been just playing good basketball, averaging 20.5 points per game, almost 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 48% shooting from the field, and 83 from the free throw line, 43 almost from the 3-point line. He's been playing really good basketball, PER of 18. And he's a big reason why Charlotte's playing, I guess I would say surprising basketball, right? They're I think doing better than most people would have expected. I certainly didn't have them in the playoff hunt this far into the season. Obviously, you have to talk about LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, and that team as a whole has kind of overperformed. But Terry Rozier is a big part of that. And you can see the numbers from the last couple of years, right? I mean, just continuous improvement. And last year, he didn't shoot the ball great, right? 42% from the field, not great. But he's really upped his efficiency. And even with guys coming in who are taking, shots and kind of not messing with his rhythm, but he had to adapt his game a bit as well, I'm sure, because you got Gordon Hayward and LaMelo Ball, guys who both like to have the ball in their hands, and he's acclimated really well. And I'm really impressed with Terry Rozier. I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy with the way he's playing. I think he's developed um, just really well, and you know how far Charlotte ends up going this year, I don't know, but I think at this point, Charlotte has to be happy with the investment they put in him last year, taking him away from Boston. And, they kind of did the same thing to Gordon Hayward, two former Celtics players who are having really good seasons. But yeah, happy for Terry Rozier. Happy for the Hornets as well, because they've been struggling for a while now. And to see them after, getting some luck last year with Devontae Graham, who's kind of had an up and down season himself, but to really kind of come into their own, hit the jackpot with LaMelo Ball and having their franchise guy. It's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Now they're still multiple pieces away from being a contender, but they seem like they have kind of their part of their core at least. LaMelo. I don't know how long Gordon Hayward keeps this level of play up, but Terry Rozier is coming into his own, and he's only 26, right? Coming into his prime. He should only continue to get better. So Charlotte's doing some good things, and it's going to be one of those teams that's interesting to keep an eye on. Kind of like how I'd say Dallas and Atlanta were teams to keep an eye on, and then through free agency, through drafting, through trades, they've kind of developed into the team they are now. I think Charlotte's one of those teams that are up and coming and a team to definitely keep an eye on moving forward. And last but certainly not least, we have Lonzo Ball, who has been just playing really good basketball, especially over the last, I'd say, 25 games, right? In those 25 games, he's actually shooting 43% from the 3-point line. And that's the biggest stat, right? Because overall, he's been playing pretty good basketball, 15 points, 6 assists, almost 5 rebounds, almost, steal and a half. And he's always going to be a good defender, solid rebounder for his height, going to look up, get the ball out, good playmaker, good facilitator. But the 43 from three is really impressive. And look, I was one of the many people who made fun of Lonzo's jump shot. And he did struggle coming out of college and when he first came into the league. And there were a lot of parts of his game that didn't translate immediately. And he didn't look necessarily like a bust because he still defended and passed the ball well. But there were questions if he was ever going to be the player that he was hyped up to be. And it wasn't too different to start the season. You know, he kind of looked like just a better version of what he was before, but you know, especially over these last 25 games, he just looks like a completely different player. He's looking for a shot more. He's been aggressive, even at the start of games, just looking for a shot. He has been playing very comfortably, playing very confidently, and I still don't love what the Pelicans are doing. I've talked about this before, and I think as of the most recent one, recent video where I talked about this was a Zion Williamson video I did on Monday. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. But yeah, I mean, I think that I still don't love what they've done with Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, but I think if they can change those parts and put in a better fit, whether it's a more athletic rim running big or a shooting big, and then they end up putting a point guard that can also space the floor, the Pelicans could be really scary. And I mean that because you already have Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram who are studs, very good young players, who can get their own good scores, and if they can get the right complementary parts, you know, improve their bench a bit, I really do think they can be scary next year. And I'm not saying they're going to be a contender or win it all or anything like that, but they can definitely be one of those teams to keep an eye on. And there's going to be questions about what happens to Lonzo, right? I think a lot of teams are going to offer him money. He's a restricted free agent, I believe, and you know the Pelicans can match. But if they feel like they can't cash out for whatever teams are offering him, you know he could end up playing a very big part for whatever team he goes to. But really happy, especially because again, just the way kind of I guess social media and fans were treating him. Again, myself included. I joked about his jump shots, but he's been playing really well. Yeah, I mean you can really tell in their splits because in their wins, he's averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. But more importantly, he's shooting 47 from the field and 46% from the 3-point line. And even his usage goes up. You know, he and some of that is it's kind of weird, right? Is it the chicken or the egg that came first? Is he playing well because the team's playing well and they're winning, or is the team winning because he's playing well? It's hard to decipher, you know, it's causation. But that being said, you know, you still see the difference in his play and the difference in when they win and when they lose because he's shooting a lot lower percentage when they lose. And again, I mean, I think it can't be understated how not only well he's playing, but how important he has become to this Pelicans team. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I certainly always enjoy looking at stats, looking for patterns and stuff. So maybe I'll do a little bit of this more along with our podcast ones or videos, as well as our normal breakdown videos. We'll have another breakdown tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're gonna do yet. Maybe we'll take something from the slate of games tonight. But again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.